I took on a bunch of business credit cards because I thought I was getting a business credit line in the beginning of my business, and guess what happened? I almost went out of business. Let me teach you guys what to look out for when you're trying to get credit for your house buying business, because there's some companies that will tell you they're getting you a credit line. They are not. They're getting you a bunch of business credit cards. What I was trying to do was buy houses. I needed operating expenses in my business for marketing, day-to-day operational costs, but I also needed closing money. I needed to be able to take down properties quickly. So what I was doing at the time was I was wholesaling a bunch of properties, but I was getting the small profit. I wanted the big profit. I wanted to flip the house, or I wanted to buy the house, fix it up, and figure out how to keep it later and own it long term. So I was trying to figure out a way to close on properties, but I ran out of money and I couldn't get into hard money lenders, or I couldn't get into those loans, right? I didn't have the money to start the transaction or close the transaction or fund the first draw. So I got myself into a situation where I was handcuffed, and I started hearing that you could get credit lines. And so I started looking into them, and it looked like you could get a credit line, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe seven figures or up, and you could just simply strike a check off of it. You didn't have to ask anybody. You didn't have to go through a regulation system or an approval system, and you could do so immediately. I didn't have a 3-day wait. I didn't have to go back and forth and miss a deal while I was waiting for approval, if that makes sense. Now, here's what I want you to understand, guys. These companies are going to tell you lots of good talk. They're going to make you believe that you're getting a credit line. Now, here's what's going to happen. These companies are out here. They're going to charge you thousands of dollars, anywhere from $3,000 to $10,000 or more, just to set you up a bunch of credit cards. But they're going to try to tell you they're the same as a credit line, that you'll be able to pull the cash off, that you can use the cash to buy properties or for whatever you want. And they're going to use some proprietary techniques, some unknown strategies that nobody else knows about, that you can't do on your own, and you're going to need them. Otherwise, it's not going to work out. So they create this big old sales pitch, and they make you think you're going to get a whole bunch more of what you're not actually going to get. This is when the trick comes in. Here's what they're going to do. Not only are they going to charge you a bunch of money up front, they're going to promise you can get all the cash off these cards, but they're going to promise you a big range, a range system. Now, what is a range? Something from here, 1 to 10, or 50 to 500. Something that has a gap spread out where you have the perfect scenario and a world-ending scenario, I guess you could say. Now, here's what they're going to tell you as far as ranges that you can get, at least the ones I was looking at. They would tell me, well, what we're going to do is we're going to get you through our system, and we're going to get you between $50,000 and $250,000 as far as a credit line goes. And they're going to do everything they can to make you feel like you're going to get to the top side of the range. I'd be like, yeah, but are you going to get me 50? They're like, no, most likely most customers are going to get like 200, 225 or something like that. So they make you think you're going to get the top side of the range. And they're going to say, oh, well, it's going to have to be based off of your credit and your situation, because later they're going to try to turn it on you and make it look like you're the problem, even though they knew what they were doing in the first place, because you're going to them saying, I'm already in debt. I need more credit to run my business, if that makes sense. The second range they're going to do is the time window of how many free months or months that you're going to pay 0%, as those introductory periods are kind of in place when you get the credit cards. They're going to tell you you're going to have between 6 and 18 month introductory periods where if you run up a balance, you're going to pay 0% interest. Now, guess what's going to happen? Probably going to get more like 6 months, not 18 months. You're going to get all these cards, you're going to rip all these charges, and guess what's going to happen? 6 months is going to go by quickly. All of a sudden, you're going to be in the interest period, and you're going to have a lot of interest that you're going to have to start paying, and this is going to accelerate the process of you going backwards and going into debt. Now, the next thing that they're going to do, the third way they're going to give you a range, is they're going to give you a range on the percentages that you're going to pay as far as an interest rate. When I got mine, I think they told me I was going to get between 9 and 24 or 28% interest. And guess what I got? I got mostly high teens. And then guess what also happens? If you miss one charge or literally one payment, one time I had a card where I paid off all of the money that month. I had a little bit of interest carry over, like tens of dollars. I didn't know that I had interest coming over. I thought I paid that down to 0. And I didn't pay the percentage I owed that month off of tens of dollars. And you know what they did? They jumped me from like a very low interest rate all the way up to just under 30%. And I had to fight them for months just to get it to come down. So this is the risk that you're going to take. These cards jump up quickly. They're not going to get you the interest rate that you thought, and they're going to jump up to the high interest rate as fast as possible if you slip up one time. The second thing is you're going to get the short window of 0% interest, not the long window. And the next thing is they're going to give you most likely the bottom side of the range, if even that. The first one I went through, I think I paid them like $4,000 or $5,000 that I borrowed, that they let me take off the incoming credit cards that I was bringing in. They're like, we're going to do it for you. That's the other trick they're going to say. Well, we'll let you take the credit that we're going to give you. We'll take our payment to do this for you, and then we'll just take it out of the $50K that you get, or whatever it is, or the $250K that you're going to get, right? And then guess what happened? Not only did they take that money out, I think I only got like $33 or $34 or $37,000. I forget exactly what it was. So they charged me a whole bunch of money up front, didn't get me the full amount. They tricked me into doing this because I thought I could pay them with the borrowed dollars. They didn't get me anything what they told me. And this is not just the company I went through. It is a bunch of companies that operate and do this in a very similar way. Now, here's the last thing I need you guys to understand. What I could have done was simply go on the internet and apply for each and every one of these cards by myself for free. They got me cards that I could have gone on the websites myself and applied for free. Now, what they do is they make you think that you can't do this, that they're doing something special, that you need them, but you don't. You needed to do it yourself. So here's what you need to look out for, guys. Make sure the company's giving you an actual credit line, not a bunch of business credit cards. Make sure if you're going to pay them up front, they're doing something for you that you can't do on your own. And really read the fine print and ask for other people that have gone through those companies that had success doing this so that you know that you can have similar success doing it, because not all companies are bad companies out there, guys. In every industry, you're going to have good ones and bad ones. Unfortunately, this is a model that has a lot of bad attitudes or bad individuals, I guess you could say, inside of these business models. And there's a lot of greed attached to it. And I've seen a lot of people get hurt, including myself, using these credit card companies. So be very wary. Hopefully this helps guys to know what to look out for. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good day.